I'm Annie. The phone rang in the middle of the night, jolting me awake. I sat up so fast I nearly knocked the lamp over. An unknown number flashed on the screen. For a split second, I thought it might be the police with good news. Instead, I heard my brother Jake's panicked screams. "Annie, what the hell did you do?" His voice was ragged, and I held the phone away from my ear. As I listened to him, my mind flashed back to the moment my world crumbled. I was at O'Hare Airport, opening my banking app out of habit. 1 second, I was tired and thinking about the laundry waiting at home. The next, I stared at 3 balances that all read 0. My emergency fund, which I'd painstakingly built over the years, was gone. My daughter Lily's college account was emptied, and the money I'd set aside to replace my old car had vanished. A total of $58,000 erased in what seemed like a handful of transfers. At first, I thought it was a fraud, a glitch that the bank could easily fix with a single phone call. But when I got home, the signs were all too clear. The guest room was empty, the kitchen drawer half open, and on the counter, a note that read, "Sorry, sis." I had no choice. Jake had emptied my accounts and disappeared with his girlfriend, Mia. I was in a state of shock, unable to scream or throw anything. I just stood there, trying to comprehend how the brother I'd protected my whole life could take everything I'd built for my daughter. It was a heartbreak that felt cold and final. Then, my 9-year-old daughter Lily looked up at me with a calm expression that didn't belong on a child's face and said, "Mom, don't worry. I handled it." I stared at her, thinking I must have misheard. But she walked to her room and came back with my old iPad. What she showed me on that iPad changed everything. She'd been suspicious of Jake and Mia for a while. Lily was an observant child, the kind who could look at a room and tell who was being genuine and who was pretending. She'd noticed how Mia would look at our things as if she were counting them, and she'd asked me about it. But I'd dismissed her concerns, telling her that adults were just curious. Lily had recorded videos and audio, and taken screenshots. One video showed Jake and Mia in the kitchen 2 nights before my work trip to Chicago. Mia was leaning against the sink, saying, "You think your sister got all this by accident? Look at this house, her accounts. She lives like she's the only one who ever had to struggle." Jake was pacing, looking sick. Mia kept pushing him, saying, "She practically raised you. She owes you for all those years." Another audio file from the hallway revealed their plan to leave for Miami as soon as the money cleared. When Jake asked what if I called the cops, Mia laughed and said I'd cry first and rationalize later. The most damning evidence was the video of Jake sitting at my laptop, with Mia standing behind him, giving him directions. They accessed my accounts using my email verification code. Jake hesitated when he saw Lily's college account, but Mia said, "Don't start growing a conscience now. Every dollar your sister spent on you was for her, too. Move it." I was filled with a mix of pride and shame. Pride in my daughter's intelligence and resourcefulness, and shame that I hadn't listened to her warnings. I copied all the files to my phone, emailed backups to myself, and called the police. Detective Sarah Thompson met us at the station. She was direct and unimpressed by family excuses. After watching the videos, she said, "Your brother is in real trouble." She put in an urgent request to trace their recent travel and flagged the digital transfer trail with the bank. Over the next 48 hours, we received calls from the bank, the detective, and my boss, who told me to take all the time I needed. The bank confirmed that my accounts had been accessed from my home laptop using my email. The money had bounced through an external account linked to Jake. By the second day, we learned that Jake and Mia had flown to Miami using their real names. A casino charge showed up, and I was furious. Lily's college money had been turned into chips and cocktails. That night, Jake's call came. He was terrified, saying that Mia was turning on him. He claimed he never wanted to take Lily's college money, that Mia had made him do it. But I wasn't buying it. I told him, "You clicked transfer. You listened to her and emptied your niece's future. He started crying, begging me to call the police and tell them he'd bring back what was left. I asked him if he ever planned to come back, and his silence was the answer. I ended the call, telling him to tell the truth. In the morning, the detective confirmed that Miami police had detained Jake and Mia. When it came to the legal process, Mia tried to shift the blame onto Jake, but Lily's evidence was too strong. Jake admitted to the transfers, the gambling debt, and that Mia had pushed him. But he also said he was tired of being the family disappointment and wanted to take something back. 2 days later, prosecutors coordinated charges, and we learned that about $31,000 could be recovered. The rest had been spent on cash withdrawals, hotel charges, casino losses, and flights. I was asked to make a statement before formal charging decisions. A week later, I sat in a conference room with the prosecutor, Detective Thompson, and a speakerphone connection to Miami. Jake appeared on video, looking pale and hollow. He started with my name, but I cut him off. I told him he'd ruined my belief in family, my financial security, and taken from a child. In the end, Mia got a plea deal that kept her out of long-term prison but destroyed her life. Her employer dropped her, and her online image collapsed. Jake faced real prison time due to prior gambling-related offenses and the scale of the theft. After the sentencing, the rebuilding began. It wasn't easy. The first 6 months were tough. Lily's college fund had taken a big hit, and my emergency savings was a shadow of what it was. But I picked up extra projects at work and took on weekend consulting jobs. People surprised me with their support. My boss organized a private fundraiser, and friends sent grocery gift cards. My neighbor, who had brought Lily home on that terrible day, started dropping off soup. Lily handled the aftermath with maturity. One evening, while I was updating our budget, she asked me if I was still mad at Jake or just hurt. I told her it was both, but the hurt would last longer. She said, "I think being family is supposed to mean you get more chances to do right, not more chances to do wrong." 3 years later, my emergency fund is healthy again, and Lily's college account is being rebuilt. I replaced my old car with a modest and reliable one. Lily is now 12, tall for her age, and obsessed with coding. She still jokes about her detective era and how she saved our family finances. Jake and I speak rarely. When he was released, I agreed to a supervised meeting in a public park. He apologized to Lily first, and I respected that. Lily listened, thanked him, and didn't hug him. Looking back, I've learned that love without boundaries can lead to disaster. Helping family doesn't mean protecting them from the consequences of their actions. Financial literacy, digital caution, and emotional clarity are forms of care. And most importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts and not dismiss the quiet truth, even if it comes from a small voice. I used to think surviving my brother's betrayal was the strongest thing I'd ever done. Now, I know the strongest thing was finally recognizing that destruction isn't love, even if it shares my last name.